I've got the S-90's main wiring harness here, and you can see if you've worked on any old bikes, old Hondas, all this vinyl sheathing that it's gone through is hard, cracked, discolored, pretty much trash. The rest of this particular one is wrapped with a silver electrical tape, and then it's got some rubber boots to cover up the bullet connectors once you've got them all connected in this one for the headlamp assembly, and then this is inside the frame. All the connectors on this look pretty good. There's not much corrosion, so I'm able to clean this one up, and I'm just going to go through how I do that on old Hondas. I found a website called cycleterminal.com. I have no affiliation, but the guy's fantastic. He sells bullet connectors that are just like the original Honda bullet connectors. They're really good quality. You don't ever want to use the cheap bullet connectors you get on Amazon. They don't stay connected well. They're super thin metal. They're just trash. So I'll show you the connectors I get from him in a little bit, but they also sell, again, this silver sheathing that's just like the factory Honda stuff. It's fantastic. And then 3M makes a gray electrical tape that matches really well also. For now, we're going to strip this all the way down, and we're going to rewrap it. We'll do the electrical tape areas in electrical tape. We'll even preserve the original part number labels and such, and then we'll replace the vinyl sheathing down here at the end. As far as the covers for the bullet connectors, we can clean them up. And again, there's no corrosion, so we'll just do a little cleaning and a little corrosion X on the connectors and go from there. Alright, I was able to get all the old connectors through this new vinyl sheathing. It looks great. I decided not to replace all of the silver wire wrap on this end because it's just in really good shape on this side. The other end was all chewed up. You can see the gray 3M electrical tape is not a perfect match for this silver wire wrap, but this is all inside the frame anyway. It's completely out of sight. A little bit of this is exposed. This is where it comes around into the headlight bucket, and this is an excellent match for the original. So if you were really OCD, you could rewrap the whole thing, or you could probably source a better, shinier vinyl wire wrap that'd be a better match, but I'm perfectly happy with this, and it's inside the frame. If it were visible, I would again do that. Cleaned all the connectors up a little bit with just some CRC contact cleaner, and I'm going to go over the bullet connectors probably with a brass brush gently, but they all look great. Everything's really good. I cleaned all the wires individually to make it a lot easier when we're identifying colors and stuff going back together. And overall, it's in excellent condition. Very pleased with that. You can see somebody had a wonderful wire repair here with just a twisted bullet connector from where the battery connects. So I'll be replacing all these. Anything that's damaged in there, again, I've got some really nice quality new bullet connectors I'll show you here in one of the later videos, and I'll be doing all the wiring harnesses on the bike, which isn't much more than this and a few individual harnesses. Both of the grips are fairly mangled, I think. They twisted on the bar, and if you're familiar with old Hondas, a lot of the wires ran through the handlebar and the throttle went through a long slot. Everything's very sharp. And then there's a little dowel locating pin that holds it in a specific position on the handlebar. So these had been moved and the dowel pin had been kind of pulled out, and that allowed it to cut into the wiring quite a bit. So I can take this all the way apart and solder new connections to each of these contacts on the switches. But at some point, it's a lot easier to replace. They sell some new old stock, different ones from the $40 to $50 range for this bike. So I'll see how much time I have on my hands, but these would be easier to replace than they would to try to get into these contacts. A couple of the contacts are bent up as well. Anyway, we'll see as we go. May redo them. The handlebars were bent. I was able to bend them back. I'll show you later. It was difficult, but they look great now, and I think they'll stand up. It's not an off-road bike, so I think they'll be good to go. That's where we are on the wiring. I'll be going over a few more harnesses and see what else we got on the bike to clean up as far as the electrical goes. And moving on. This is the tail light harness, and if you look at it up real close, looks like the mouse that was living in the frame has gotten pretty much all this wiring. Hard to see on camera, but it's thrashed. So again, we've got new bullet connectors. May even reuse a few of these. These are solder-on bullet connectors. You just heat it up and pull them out, and then you slide a new wire through, cut it off after you soldered it. So totally reusable, and again, much better quality than anything I'm going to be getting these days. So I've got different wiring in 20 gauge, 22, 18, in a lot of colors. So we'll do the best we can on a color match or order some new stuff. I don't have a whole lot of options for tracers, but not many of these wires have tracers anyway. So we'll rebuild this harness when the time comes. And I'll, of course, keep all the old harnesses to use as a length measurement. I'm also going to be pulling the turn signals off this bike. They're in good shape, but I don't need them. I'm not going to be street legalizing it, and I have no need for signals at the moment. So I'll box them up and save them for a later date when you might want to use them. So I've taken apart the right-hand grip here. Several of the wires were cut on their way coming through the bar. Some of them were making contact and grounding out. So I'm going to replace these wires. They're just soldered onto an old board here. I've got a bunch of different wires in 20, 22, 18, 16, so I've got the colors I need. So I'm just going to solder them to length, cut them to length, and then solder them onto the board. And then these bullet connectors are solder on tip, so I'm just going to remove those and reinstall them to the new wires. And everything goes well. We should have fresh wires. We're going to inspect each one of them individually. I think they're probably all going to get replaced. They look pretty, I think they're all cut. So that's where we are. I don't know if I'll be able to repair the other grip. I'll show you why later. And also they're fairly inexpensive to replace if I need to, and this is going to be a bit labor intensive, but I'm going to give it a shot and see how it turns out. So let's get started. It's important to note the wire I'm using. I think it's called GHX. It's really, really nice, or GXL rather. It's really nice, high quality wire. It's like a Teflon sleeve inside. It's copper. It's really good stuff. It's not the shitty primary wire that you buy at AutoZone, so it's an important distinction. I ordered this any chance I can to get more colors and sizes so I can build my own harnesses. Anyway, good stuff. Alright, I've replaced the worst of the wires. They look good. These other two, the yellow and the white here, just have damage to the insulation. There's no damage to the conductors. So I'm just going to put some heat shrink over those in the interest of not wasting more time and supplies, because they're fine. And then we'll move on to attaching the bullet connectors to the back. While I'm in here, I'm going to take a fiberglass pen and clean up these electrical contacts a little bit. If you don't have a fiberglass pen, they're cheap, and they do an excellent job of cleaning up that copper gently. So, got wires all soldered back on, and I didn't have enough of the gray sheathing from cycleterminal.com. I'll order some more, but for the moment, I use some of that just wire protector. It's really good, strong stuff from the same place, and that's all inside the handlebar, so I'm not worried about it being, visible. So, I'll order some more of that. We got all the bullet connectors soldered back on. If you're going to do these, remove them. I used a small drill bit to remove the last little bit of the solder from inside them, and then strip the wire back, slide it all the way through, and then solder it from the front is the fastest and easiest way to get them back on. But it turned out good. For 15, 20, 25 bucks to replace one of these, I'm not sure I would recommend doing all the work I just did on there. It's a solid hour's worth of work, which it's nice to keep it original, and hopefully we won't have any problems. The switch looks good. I lubricated all the mechanisms in there a bit. Anyway, we'll put it back together when the rest of the handlebar parts come. I'll do that in a later episode, and we'll see how she does.